Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Nick family. Welcome to Lunchtime Live, I guess. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. The Knicks beat Toronto last night, 113 to 108. They got timely stops, timely shots down the stretch, and they were able to win it. I know there's a sentiment in the Knicks community that the Knicks should not be struggling the way they are, that the Knicks should be beating these teams handedly. Um, but I, for one, don't understand that sentiment. Like, I don't understand the belief or the narrative or the thought that the Knicks should be a bit more consistent than they are. And they should not be struggling with the Torontos, the Detroits, the grinded out win we got against Charlotte. Why shouldn't we be? Because we have more talent, you know? Um, Chemistry matters. Championship teams are built. It's not just about having a collection of talent. The Knicks are still finding themselves. This team is not optimized yet. As good as they are offensively, the offense is not optimized. They're definitely not optimized on defense. And in my opinion, they're not optimized mentally. I mean, they came out pumped up, ready to go from the giddy up, as my grandmother would say, against Orlando, but yet came out really flat against Detroit at home on Legends Night. Like that's not a team that's optimized mentally. A team that's optimized mentally, your approach is the same. It doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter what part of the season it is, it's the same approach, right? And the Knicks are just not there yet. And until then, we're going to see good wins like the one we had against Denver and Orlando, bad losses, grinded out wins like the ones we had against the one we had against Charlotte. And we're going to have some losses that's difficult to understand. Um, but from what I'm seeing from the Knicks, in my opinion, this is par for the course for a team with the roster turnover that they've had. It's 24 games, and I'm not going to be the fan wondering why the Knicks are not further along. The Knicks are in their process, like all championship contending teams are, like all teams are. They are in their process. Sure, I have my concerns. I'm noting them. I'm looking for trends. I'm hoping for improvements as the season goes along. This team needs work. I'm not denying that. They got 54, 56 wins to put the work in, right? I'm not going to compare them to last year's team because they ain't that. And I'm not going to compare them to the optimized version of this team, right? It's easy to look back to the Denver game or to look to the Orlando game and then compare them to those games. To me, that's the optimized version of this team. To me, that gives me a glimpse into what's possible for this team. But I don't expect them to live on that level just yet. Right? There's going to be some inconsistencies, some ups and downs. So for me, personally, I'm not pressed. Like I think no doubt, they're going to improve in multiple areas as time goes along. The good thing is that they are winning while they're learning. The Knicks could easily be a few games under 500, and they can easily be a few more games over 500. Right? It's going to get better. Bridges is coming along. Precious is back. Mitchell Robinson will be back at some point. We're good and we'll be better. Right? So if there's any Knicks fan out there like exasperated with this team, wondering why we're not further along, like I said, for me personally, I'm not pressed. I expected this. This is par for the course. And for a team that's with all the different moving parts and the different changes that they're 15-9, I'm actually excited about it. But anyway, now that I've kind of framed how I'm viewing the Knicks overall, I do want to talk about last night's game. Shout out to everybody in the chat, replay gang, those who are listening or watching and not in the chat, or some listen as well. I appreciate you. Up and down game, like the first quarter, they were 80% from three. They had 8 assists, 34 to 37 after the 37 to 34. What was it? 34-37. Correct me in the chat. After one, 3 turnovers in that first quarter. Second quarter, the Raptors went on a 19-7 run to take the lead by 1 at halftime. The Knicks gave up 61 points, 5 turnovers in the first half. The third quarter, they had 5 turnovers in the third quarter alone. Karl-Anthony Towns, we'll get to him later. Phenomenal game, but he had 3 of those 5 turnovers in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, though, no turnovers, right? They shot 50% from the field, 53.8% from the three-point line. Not great from the free throw line. Well, not great, not good at all. 1 from 3. As far as the game itself was concerned, the Knicks had 32 assists. Like I said, they only shot 63.2% from the line. They only took 82 shots. Thank goodness that, they were pretty to the Raptors 96. Thank goodness they were efficient. Points in the paint, -6 last night. Toronto had 56 points in the paint. And believe it or not, we talk about the Knicks defense not being up to par. Overall, there's different aspects to defense, right? There's opponent field goal percentage. There's, how are you in transition? How are you defending in the paint? What's your pick and roll defense? There's many facets to defense. As far as points in the paint, the Knicks gave up 56 points in the paint to Toronto, but the Knicks are 10th in the league, in defending points in the paint, giving up just 46.6. So again, last night was a bit uncharacteristic. Obviously, you got RJ Barrett, who, plays downhill. He puts a lot of pressure on you in the paint, and he had 30 points last night. Second chance points, Toronto had 16. Knicks are 4th in the league in defending second chance points, only giving up 12.5 on the season. Fast break points, Toronto had 20. Knicks are 5th in the league, giving up only 12.9 second half points. So there was a lot of uncharacteristic things going on last night for the Knicks, including, like I mentioned earlier, the free throw shooting. The Knicks are 81.5% on the season, which is number 1 in the league in free throw shooting. And last night they were 63.2%. Inconsistent defense, good possessions at times, good quarters at times, and this is for the season, and it held last night as well. And then there is those, what is that, possessions, or what was that, quarters. The defense is just inconsistent. However, they made big plays and they got timely shots down the stretch. Brunson's 4-point play, Towns with the layup that broke the tie, the 3-pointer to seal the win. Towns had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. 2 missed free throws, but I'm not nitpicking. He was phenomenal in that fourth quarter, including a good defense on RJ Barrett, providing some resistance, and then OG coming over with the block, right? Karl-Anthony Towns gave him enough time to get there, right? Usually it would have been a layup before OG can even get over, right? So I thought he was stout on that play. Bridges had some big shots. He had 3 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. The Knicks didn't have any turnovers. So they had 5 in the first half, 5 in the third quarter alone, and none in the fourth. None in the fourth. So if you're in striking distance, you can still win. And that's what I feel like the Knicks did. The Knicks were in striking distance. They went on multiple runs, including a 12-4 run in the fourth. They made timely shots. Bridges 3-pointers, 3 3-pointers. The 4-point play, like I mentioned before, by Brunson. Towns layup and his 3-pointer. Even though the Knicks did not play great, They did some things in this game, like I mentioned before, that was uncharacteristic of them. They were in striking distance to seal this game, and they made the timely shots and they got the timely stops down the stretch. Right? They didn't play well. They were able to pull it out. I'm going to check in with the chat just a little bit, go over some player stats, and then I'm out of here. Just a quick one today. Salute to you, JJ. Appreciate you. Gonna have to play much better if we want to beat the Hawks. They look legit. Yeah, I think the Knicks are legit as well. Atlanta has had up and down games, and so have the Knicks. So it really depends on what version of the Knicks show up, what version of Atlanta shows up. I anticipate both teams are going to be on it. I anticipate it being a really, really good game tomorrow night. Appreciate you, Kerry Cox. Appreciate you, Kareem. All right. Bridges was the unsung hero. Yeah, he kept us in it. Like, we had to be in striking distance. And those 3-pointers he made, particularly in the fourth quarter, was big, but he was big all game. I think he had, what was Bridges? 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 5 3-pointers. And like I just mentioned, 3 of those were in the fourth quarter. Bridges was clutch last night for sure. Salute, drugs only. Mikal kept us in the game. Yep, he did. He sure did. Sangford 929. Got to chalk this one up to growing pains moving in the right direction. I really think so. I mean, this team could be maddening, right? Like, even myself, after the Denver game, I said, you know what? We may have turned the corner. Like, this may have been it. We may have turned the corner. Things may be clicking. And I think it was Utah we played next. I was like, my goodness. And then we go out, we beat Orlando, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is the turning point, and I'm not sure if Detroit was the next game. And then we go out, we play against Detroit on Legends Night, and I'm like without Towns, and that makes a difference, right? You're going into that Detroit game without one of your best players, arguably your best player. He does so much for us. And you basically have to change the way you play when Towns is not in the game. Not as much space, I should say. That being said, there was enough left, in my opinion, to beat Detroit, even if you had to do it a different way. And that just didn't happen. So I get it. This team can be maddening, can be frustrating from game to game, but I just think it's par for the course. It's 24 games. It's just par for to expect that they're going to come out, get it together, and go on a run like, say, Cleveland did. I don't know if that's realistic. This is what is, though. Effort. Your effort and your approach, like, I don't see how that shifts from game to game, right? And that's what makes me think that even mentally, they're just not optimized. Drugs only. We are contender. The season is still early. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. I definitely agree with that. We need Mitchell Robinson back ASAP. He would definitely help us. 7-3 in our last 10. You're right. 7-3 in our last 10. So we're not optimized yet. We're not playing our best basketball consistently, but we're still winning despite that, right? I like that, as opposed to, maybe right now we're 9-15 or 10-14, and we're still learning and we're still making mistakes. If you can win while you're learning, I think that's great. Salute to you, Tony Angel. I'm not sure if this is your first time. If it is, welcome. If not, welcome back. JJ, I'm not seeing a true title contender right now. I mean, I think if you're just looking at how they're playing, I could see that, but You can look at any championship contending team, they've had struggles along the way. Right. I think there's the idea that just the roster alone is going to be enough. Like there's levels to this. There's levels to it. The Knicks have to gel. They have to go through tough times. It's not easy to win a championship. This is just the first year. It might take the Knicks 3 years to win a championship. Think how many years Boston was together before they won one. Denver before they won one. Milwaukee before they won one. Right? You kind of have to go through the fire. Sure, you can catch lightning in a bottle, and I'm not saying it can't happen, and there's no way the Knicks are going to win a championship this year. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying usually takes a few years of being together. So don't get too down on this team, because they're not consistent or they're not showing you. It's 24 games. It's 24 games. Let's see. Let's see. Towns has great, and I mean great hands. He got two difficult passes from Brunson, one of them being late in the game for a big layup bucket. No, yeah, yes, absolutely. Hart was missing a lot. He's the engine. He's the engine. We did Queen's Court last night, and shout out to Lady in the Chef for two Knicks chicks, wondering like who's the vocal leader on this team. And I think Hart is, but I don't know if he's the in your face vocal leader. Like when you hear stories about Kobe Bryant, may he continue to rest in peace, and you hear stories about Michael Jordan. They wanted to win. They didn't care whether you were upset with them. They didn't care whether you liked them or not. If you weren't doing what you were supposed to do, they was in that ass. You know, I don't think we have that on this Knicks team. This is a team similar to last year's team as well. That's not very emotional. Like they don't. I'm not saying they don't get excited when things happen, but other than campaign plays with emotion, Hart plays with emotion. This is not a very emotional team, and just sometimes you need a little energy. You need a little pick me up. You know, um, and that's just not them. All right, I do want to go over a few players. We talked about Carl Anthony Towns, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 7 for 13 from the field. He didn't even look like he was having a big game. Like when you're watching Towns, like he's piling up these stats. And if you're watching the game, he doesn't even look like he's having, not that he's having a poor game, but it doesn't even like that they'll be like, all right, we're heading into the half. Carl Anthony Towns with 14 points, 10 rebounds, a steal and a block. You like for real? you know, like he's just like it's like this is just what I do. Like this is not like where I'm hot and I'm pumped up. This is just what I do. He's amazing. He's been super consistent for us. And his presence on this team changes everything. And he stepped up defensively, on that last play against RJ Barrett, and he's done that a few times. I'm not sure Brunson and Cat, who are not great defenders, um, I'm not even sure how much we can ask of them for um defensively, given how much of a load they carry on the offensive end. But there are times in a game, particularly down the stretch, where you do have to dig in and you do have to come up big and get these timely stops. And he did that for us last night. Bridges, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 5 3-pointers. He's been playing really, really good as of late, in my opinion. His defense has gotten better, in my opinion. His screen navigation, staying with guys, moving his feet, using his length, closing out properly. There was just some fundamental mistakes I saw early in the season. Seemed like he's cleaned all of that up. I like the way he's playing on both ends. And Anobi, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Really? 3 blocks? Somebody fact check me on that. I thought it was two, but I have here 3 blocks, 2 steals. He was good. He was guarding, RJ Barrett, who had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and was pretty efficient last night, 13, 4, 24. RJ Barrett is really strong. He goes to his left. Once he gets downhill, um, he's better finishing at the rim, from what I remember anyway. And at least last night that was the case. I'm not sure where he is on the season, but last night he finished at the rim really well. He's a tough cover, with both Anunoby and Bridges. I don't I don't know if we can expect that they're gonna lock down every assignment every night. I just don't think that's gonna happen. But OG Anunoby is just a professional. Like, he's not getting too up. He's not getting. You could drop 40 on him. He's gonna have the same approach on the next possession. And that's what I like about him. That's what I appreciate about him. And he got that big block on RJ Barrett last night. Brunson, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 3-pointers. Wasn't great. Well, I shouldn't say wasn't great. Didn't have a lot of. I think he only had 2 points or an assist or something in that fourth quarter, which was fine because Towns was huge for us in the fourth quarter. It's really good to have somebody else you can go to in the fourth quarter. He got injured. He went out for a little bit. I really thought that fan stuck their foot out intentionally. I know they kept saying on the broadcast that he tripped. I was like, I don't know. I kind of saw that foot come out. I don't know. I don't want to get on the fan too much. I could be wrong. But he went out for a little bit. He came back and he finished the game. The bench was okay last night. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks between them. Precious Achua, 16 minutes, and in 16 minutes he had 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks. His return helps. He needs time. Um, I I have to look at the game again, but it seemed like when he got into the game, they did go on a little run. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's his fault. I just think it's going to take, time for him. Um, yeah, but the Knicks are better with Precious Achua. McBride, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 3-pointers. Campaign, 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 0 turnovers. You know, and the Knicks were able to weather the storm a little bit while Brunson was off the floor, and that's what campaign gives you. Jericho Sims did not play. Coach's decision. I'm really interested in what the chat and the replay game. How you feeling about that? I know the first game Precious was back. He got 3 minutes. I'm not sure if that was Precious or, Tom Thibodeau did say in the press conference that, when you're in there, you got to do what you're supposed to do. So maybe Sims missed some assignments. I know he bumbled the ball a little bit on offense, but that's not new, so I'm not sure what that was about. But last night he didn't play at all. This is what I thought would happen when Precious came back. Say what you want about Thibodeau and his rotations. Next man up is next man up. And when your time is up, your time is up. And we've seen it time and time again. Somebody is out. Who's the next player on the bench? That person comes in. When the other person comes, that initial person comes back, that person goes back to the bench. And it's been like this ever since Tom Thibodeau has been here. Right? So you've seen when Kolek was the next guy up in the rotation, he got time. When McBride came back or whoever it was, Kolek goes back to the bench. That's just how it's been. I didn't think Sims would be in the rotation at all. However, the injury to Precious Achua necessitated him being in the rotation, and he played well. I think for me anyway, there is a disconnect between the eye test and the advanced stats. But the advanced stats says he's played well. I know after a while he did pick up his activity, and even the eye test showed that Sims is playing well. He's picking up his activity he was always where he was supposed to, be. The thing with Sims is you are limited on offense when he's in the game. And that's just it. You know, with Precious Achua, there's more things you can do offensively. Let's see where this bears out defensively when it comes to Precious. But offensively, there's more things you can do. He rips the rebound, he dribbles it over half court. He got an interior pass. He made another interior pass to OG Anunoby in the Detroit game. And it was another game. So the interior passing is there. The floater in the key is there. He misses some bunnies, frustrates the hell out of me when he does that. But he's just, you could play a certain way with him on the floor. And you're just not getting that when Sims is on the floor. So if Precious can duplicate what Sims is doing defensively and you have more flexibility on the offensive end, it's a win for the Knicks. It's a win for the Knicks. And I know people talk about, but he's smaller than Sims. Listen, and I'm not referring to Sims. I'm just saying in general. Sometimes you could be big for nothing. And again, I'm not talking about Sims. I'm just talking about how, as a fan base, we are so not some of us in the fan base stuck on height. And yes, there are times when I feel that a team's height is getting the best of the Knicks, but that's not often. Even when the Knicks are undersized, the issues they're having, I don't believe is due to the fact that they're undersized. Right? We were undersized against Orlando. Didn't seem to bother us. Right? But there are some games in which it does. I will give you that. But I'm not of the school where you put somebody in just because they're taller. If you got somebody that's taller, you got the other guy that's a few inches shorter, but they play big and they're rebounding big, I'm not gonna just put you in because you 3 inches taller. I'm not doing it. So I know we talk about Josh Hart and we talk about, he's 6'4", he's 6'5", and sometimes Tibbs has him on power forwards because he can guard up. He's one of the best rebounding guards in the league. So you're not losing rebounding when Josh Hart. You think you're going to get more rebounding replacing Josh Hart with Jericho Sims because Jericho Sims is, 6 inches taller? You're not. You're not. So I get it. Yeah, I wish the Knicks were taller and talented, taller and effective, because I don't want to give up effectiveness just for inches. I'm not doing that. Right? Pause. You got to be shorter. If you are shorter, taller, you still got to be effective. So I'm good with the Knicks height for right now. I'm good with it because those guys are effective. Do I wish OG Anunoby was a better rebounder? I do. I wish OG Anunoby was a better rebounder. But, you can say that he's chasing perimeter players, and so that's why he's not in rebounding position. You can argue that. Okay, fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. Sims is back to being situational. And that's just what it is. And Thibodeau is electing to go 8. We're going 8 now. Maybe when Mitchell Robinson comes back, it'll be a different story. They're still holding on to Shamet. Maybe when Shamet comes back, it'll be a different story. But for right now, it's an 8-man rotation. All right. That's all I have. Pretty short show today. I just wanted to hop on. But let me get to some more comments before I get out of here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, listen, I didn't expect the game to run as smooth without 2 of your top 7 players in the rotation, but I still believe you find a way to win that game. Grind it out, find a way to win the game. Start Precious and Josh Hart to the second unit. Who you putting in the first unit, though? East Blue Drew, appreciate you. We cannot play how we did last night. Trey is coming for our neck tomorrow. No, the Knicks will be up tomorrow. But my thing is, um, my thing is, I need the Knicks to approach and energy to be good every game. Your shots may not fall every game. All right. Defensive chemistry is not there. All right. I get it. You know, new team. It's just been 24 games. But should that affect your approach to the game? I don't know. Tony Angel, I've been on this channel. I'm more and more now that the basketball season is ramping up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'll be back Thursday, and then Thursday night we got the Just Nicking It weekly show. Hope to see you there. I'm still having faith, but it's being tested. Yeah. RJ was balling. Yeah. He had a really good game. Last one. Josh Hart was 4 of 9. You would have thought he was 5 of 24. Come on now. Listen, I'm not saying Josh Hart had a good game last night. I'm just saying that everybody's going to have bad nights, bad shooting nights. What I'm saying is I'm not going to take Josh Hart out because he's 3 inches shorter than somebody who's not as effective. That's the point I was making. Start Precious. Can't blame Sims. I'm not blaming Sims. I just think Precious is better. Salute, Darlene. Appreciate you hopping on. And she says that she's not surprised Sims didn't play. Yeah. Yeah. Hart got to be better defense. Really? I got to watch him more. You know, there are times when I'll pick a quarter. Sometimes, particularly when I'm rewatching a game, I'm like, all right, for this quarter, I'm just going to follow Sims for the time that he's in here. For this quarter, I'm just going to follow Josh Hart. So I'm going to follow Josh Hart because I don't see that. But, you know, it's really hard to focus on so many things at the same time. So I'm going to see that. I'm going to take a look at that, JJ. Salute, Jarrell. Salute. Let me know if we on tonight. May God bless Precious with great with great health for the rest of the season, and may he give him Karl Anthony Towns mitts. Well, I don't think with Precious is catching the ball. He'll catch it. It's just he's the finishing. Our starting 5 should be Cat, Precious, OG Bridges, and Brunson. Why? Why Precious? What is Precious bringing? Precious is not a better player, in my opinion, than Josh Hart. And I'm not again. Precious has 3 inches on height-wise on Josh Hart. That's not enough. I'm not putting you in the game just because you're 3 inches taller than Josh Hart. You know? He's not a better rebounder than Josh Hart. Josh Hart is like he comes out of a cannonball. Like he gets rebounds that's not even in his area, right? So I don't know. I mean, I get it. I've gone back and forth with this. We've gone back and forth with this on Queen's Court, on the Just Nicking It weekly show. I just think Hart has done, what is he averaging? Like 9 rebounds a game, 8 point something rebounds a game, 6 assists or something like that. His 3-point percentages. You're not getting that from Precious. That's another thing you have to keep in mind when you put Precious in that starting lineup. He's not a 3-point shooter. You know, Josh Hart really isn't either, but he's shooting at, I think, 38% this year, something like that, 37, 38. So you actually have to guard Josh Hart. You don't have to guard Precious. You don't have to guard him, you know? So I'm not sure what we're gaining other than 3 inches of height by putting Precious in the starting lineup. I'm over Josh Hart. I'm not sure what we're gaining. Appreciate you, Double D. The offense Knicks 100 a GM. Come on now. Come on now. You're not going to tell me the offense looks sloppy because Sims is not in the game. And I get the picks. He sets good picks on Brunson, for Brunson. I get it. But you're not going to tell me that the Knicks offense is sloppy without Sims. I can't. You're going to have to listen. My email is bksteph33@gmail.com. I'm going to need a paragraph to help me understand that. I don't get that. I don't get it. OG and Bridges are too weak on the glass. Got to give us. I think so. He says no clean shots, no easy layups. I don't know. Keith Turner, my guy. How you doing? Hope all is well with you and your family, and that's for everybody else. Tibbs is going to kill our players doing this. Doing what? Are you talking about the minutes? You saw Cat and Brunson go down. If we lose any one of them, forget winning. That's with any player, any team. You lose one or both of your two best players, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Cat and Brunson, though, don't even play high minutes on the team. You know, and the reason that is because they have adequate backups. Right? Cat, it was Sims, now it's Precious, and with Brunson, it's Cam. Tibbs trust those guys. And so Brunson is playing what, 34, 35? Cat is playing what, 35, 36? Like those guys, because they have adequate backups, their minutes are not sky high. We need adequate backups for Hart and OG and Bridges. Those guys don't have that. You know? Still 46. I think Bridges had 46 minutes in the Detroit game. Come on, Thibodeau. You know I'm Tom Thibodeau high, but come on, Tibbs. 46 minutes. It's a lot. Right. I've been following Hart lately defensively. He leaves guys open from corner 3 a lot. Is he in rotation though? Or he's just leaving them there? Okay, Jarrell, I got you. Do we win that game if Barton doesn't get hurt? Do we lose that game if Mitchell Robinson plays? That's just par for the course. DKEJ21, appreciate you. It's been a minute. It's the shot blocking that would help the rim protection, but I still wouldn't make that change. Hart playmaking is important. His playmaking is important, and I think his 3-point shooting is important for what we're trying to do. But I hear what you're saying. It's defensively. Okay. Kerry Precious at power forward would help Cat out. And then OG and Bridges can play up to their full potential. Josh Hart would lead our second unit. The thing about Josh Hart, though, I don't really see him as somebody who can lead the second unit. Like Josh Hart to me is a connector. He is a Swiss Army knife. And in order to have a Swiss Army knife, you got to have other people around you that you playing off of. You know what I mean? I don't know. You think Precious is going to give him more help than Josh Hart is giving him? Maybe. Let's talk about that more Thursday. I will put that down. Now that Precious is back, I'll put that down as a question. Now that Precious is back, should we consider moving him into the starting lineup for Josh Hart, and why? And maybe we'll take calls as well. I appreciate everybody joining me today. Ivory 10. Appreciate you. Kerry Cox, DKEJ21, East Blue Drew, Knicks 100 GM, Jarrell. You know what it is. Keith Turner, Double D, Darlene Bryant, Kerry Cox, JJ, Kareem Grant. Drugs Only was in the house. Tony Angel, welcome back. I appreciate all of you. Cat would be good next to a true power forward like Precious, as opposed to OG. Yeah, like I said, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Difference. We'll talk about it Thursday. A little Keyshawn, appreciate you. Add a little more rim protection. Okay, all right. We'll talk about it Thursday. I appreciate everyone.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?
Dope Soul.